All right. Hey, what's up, guys? It is Saturday, October. Oh my goodness, I believe it's the 8th, 2022. My son texts me. I've been getting on him about a budget, and I had sent him an illustration, and he sent me back. He goes, "Is that your budget, Dad?" I'm like, No. I was just trying to show you what a budget looks like, And he's smart. He's a smart guy. It's just funny. As I try to inform and educate in the best way that I know how, my oldest son, urgently, like, man, you got to get this. You're 20 years old. You're going to be 21 this month. I so want you to understand money coming in, money going out, making sure that your levels are like, I have more money coming in than going out, being able to adjust your spending, and then having the excess money, where to allocate it in steps. Like I said last couple times, like I want him to save 10 grand of his own money and be proud that he did that and accomplished that. And that's stage one, right? And then we'll get into investing and credit, and I'm just trying to give him little spoonfuls. And I'm so excited that he said that to me, because I gave him a deadline on Friday. Now, he didn't actually give it to me yet, but I could tell he's going to do it. And so all I wanted to share on my way home tonight was, there's a lot of traffic, is I was talking to some guys today, some upper management guys, and we were talking about actually the state of the economy, the future, what our opinions were, just fun stuff. Not really fun because of what's going on, but we were talking about XRP. XRP came up, and I was telling them how I thought XRP was a good long-term investment. I had one of my friends and one of my bosses actually was saying that he has quite a bit. I think he has close to 100, 70 or 80,000. My other friend has close to 40,000. I have about 10. Almost 10,000, and I'm probably looking to get another 10. Now, I can't invest in everything, and I don't know. That saying, like, you don't have a crystal ball, but like I'm like, okay, over the next year, because I think it's going to come back down again. I think, and I want a dollar cost average in with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, because I think our XRP has a utility, and there's a lot of banks partnering with them. There seems like there's a bright future for it. Now, I don't know if it's going to go to $2 or $3, or it's all-time high very soon, or if it's going to go to 5 or 6. I think it's 5 or 6. And but I looked at one chart, and it said that it's possibly could go to 10 or 12 this year. Hey, possible, or even next year. And then it shows lows and highs. And overall, in the next 2 to 3 years, there's a prediction of it going minimum of 8 to 50. And I was just saying that if it did hit any of those price targets, I would probably take half and invest in a hard asset like real estate or something, like invest it instead of just the metaverse or crypto world. That's me, right? But my buddy Chris was saying, oh well, what happens if like the Bitcoin guys that got it when it was pennies, less than pennies, and then it went up to tens of thousands of dollars. I was like, yeah, I can see that, but that's why I probably wouldn't sell it all. But we all have our own strategy. But anyway, the point is, I got a notification right after this conversation about, like I said, hey, next year is going to be a horrible year. Now, I didn't say this because I know anything, because I don't know anything. I just listen. I try to surround myself with people that know a lot more than me, that are educated, immensely successful. And the social media stuff for me is great because I feel like I'm part of their circle. Like if I'm talking to you right now, some people can call me and text me, right? And they DM me, whatever. But these guys that are high-level guys that have millions of followers and subscribers and YouTube, or are bestsellers, or are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever they can, billionaires. Some of these stuff that they do amazes me because they're as accessible, and they talk in the same mannerism as I'm talking to you. And some of the stuff that I think and say from listening to hearing the information, the data not just opinions, like raw data, like stuff that they like, hey, did you know this, and that? I'm like, wow. I find myself smarter, as a result of that, talking to my friends that do hold positions like vice president of a bank, for example, that will talk about things. He's like, man, how do you know that? And I'm like, I'm just listening to people smarter than me, right? And I believe it when I listen to it. I'm not just trying to regurgitate the information. I'm like, that actually makes sense to me, and that's why I like, like guys like Grant Cardone, for example, versus Raoul Pal, and other people that like the way they bring the information. Grant Cardone, which I don't agree with everything about him. In fact, there's a lot of things that I don't. But some of the questions, he just did this interview with Mohammed I might be saying his last name wrong, Elan. He's from the Alliance. It's a $1 or $2 trillion company, right? So I'm just like, wow, I didn't know that. I've seen him before. I heard, but he's a famous economist, pretty well respected. And man, this interview that popped up, I think it was live on Instagram. I actually still have it up because it didn't cut off, and I think I'm still able to access it. And I just was listening to it in between things I was doing. Amazing. I sent a link out to grantcardone.com/summit because he said that's where you could go and access this. And you probably got to sign up and give your email. But I just I'm already a part of that community, so I was able to get the information. I was listening to it because I try to pull out some stuff and listen. But he interviews people sometimes that really offers the information. Just like, if you can watch that was absolutely amazing. Like the information that Muhammad offered, right? And he basically reiterated from a guy who's probably a billionaire, very well educated, what I was saying just like an hour before I watched it. I was saying, we're in for a rough road from what I'm hearing for 2023 and the next 12 months to 24 months. Everyone seems to think we're going to have a pretty rough road. We have to be paying attention and ready, and that's why I was really just talking about my son. So, and we were talking about freeing up cash. We were talking about at the sales, the management, how having, cashing up and having some money available other than just living expenses, and cutting costs, and just like okay, let me make sure I'm not living beyond my means. I'm eliminating debt, or I'm not taking in unnecessary debt that I don't need, and looking for the opportunities over the next year or two, because that's what Muhammad was talking about, like from an economist perspective, a guy who has that information available to him. That's what he's paid to do, to not manage a multi-million-dollar company or billion-dollar company, but a trillion-dollar company. In the same way that BlackRock, manages, I think, $9 trillion. So here's this guy being interviewed who says no to most interviews. He said, I wanted to do this because I care about your audience. I think you're trying to get people the information. People need the information. I think Ray Dalio does the same thing. So, I encourage you to watch that if you can, right? I'm not exactly sure, but I think you go to that website and grantcardone.com/something. I'm not promoting him, but if you could just watch just that part of his interview of what he offers, man, awesome. Because Grant's always selling something to me, marketing, selling. But man, the trade-off was invaluable. I'm just so excited that I got to hear that. But it really drove home for me my resolve for wrapping up this year, really paying attention to some of the stuff. Like Cardone doesn't really invest in the stock market. He's all in real estate. Some other guys are like, I'm going to buy into these companies that are going to they're going to go on a massive discount. They're already on discount, and they're going to go on probably a further discount. And they're talking about a hard recession, and we're not actually in a recession yet because the jobs are up, right? And that's what Muhammad was saying. Is I don't think we're officially in a recession, according to an economist viewpoint, because that has to happen. right? And I don't know. I mean, that's just what he was saying. I mean, obviously we can see the effects, everywhere of that, but people are still working. People are still going out. Like, I don't see it's not like COVID, where people were just boarded up in their house, and the only time they went out was for essential stuff like gas and food and supplies, and other than that they were just not really doing anything. But if people are fearful, like, oh, these rates keep going up, I'm not going to buy a house, I'm going to be careful in my spending, and then businesses are starting to feel that constraint, they start to lay people off because there's less spending, people holding the dollar, right? And and that whole process plays out over weeks and months and maybe years, in addition to all the other things happening simultaneously between China and Russia and Ukraine and England and energy crisis. I mean, so much, right? Like, that one thing's for sure. I'll be shocked. I'm not getting into politics, but I cannot imagine. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen after Biden is finished with his term. Right? Like, what's next? What's next? So anyway, have your own opinions. That's it. That's all I really wanted to share. I don't have anything big to say. Obviously, it's the weekend. I don't know if the market is actually open on Monday because it's a holiday, whatever they call it. It's not. I don't even think it's Columbus Day anymore. But it is a holiday on Monday of some sort. So I'm not really 100% if the market's open. The last thing I did is I bought 100 more shares of Tesla. Some shares already they split 3-1, but I don't know, man. Like, it went so far down. It was like 220 something. I did not expect that. I really did not expect that. So I felt like I had to get some, because I love trading Tesla. I love their even now their selling cover calls is pretty good. But anyway, I digress. I don't want to get into that. All right, have a good Sunday with your family, friends, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, but definitely on Monday. Night.